Evening guys, welcome to another Fitzy's Mini YouTube video. So time is ticking away. At the original start of these videos at this project, so to speak, Zcar project, the whole idea was I was getting it ready to go for a new wiring loom. I then encountered all this rust issues, but the whole objective was to get a few performance upgrades done before it went for all these wiring, for a whole new wiring loom. So I've got the new radiator to fully fit. I need to fit the water lines. I need to get new gear linkage cables. I need to finish the gear mounted linkage mount inside the car. Else is on the list. Fuel lines, and then I need to send my fuel tank and my radiator off to a guy to get aluminium welded, so I don't have that facility. So it's now the 29th of August. I've got about 3 weeks, end of September. My car's booked in with a guy to get the new wiring loom done. So I've got quite a lot to be getting on with. And also in that time, I still need to finish off a few little bits in terms of rust repairs. I need to re-stone chip all of underneath. I've stripped the paint inside the car, so that all needs to be repainted. And then I'm also going to repaint the whole body as well, because areas like behind me, I've put a filler in, like where the fuel tank was, because obviously there's no fuel tank in the back of this, and previously just had a bit of a crude vent, so I've welded that in. I've got rid of all the left-hand drive stuff on the car, so I welded up where the steering rack would go. I welded up where the left-hand wiper would go, so all of that has been welded up. So by the time I've done that and I've painted the sills and the door steps, and then I'm having to blend panels to match colour, I'm just going to paint the whole car, basically. So in order to meet these time crunches, I've roped in my dad, and he's coming to help me do some bits on the car. While I finish off some bits, he's started stripping out the lights, rear window. So just another helping hand really. So stick around, see what we're up to. We're trying to get some stuff done every night, and then we'll just collab all these clips together and hopefully get somewhere with the car. So I'm no expert, but I'm pretty sure you're not meant to drill holes and pot rivet stuff into your structural roll cage. That's what some donut had done. So I've obviously drilled all those pot rivets out now, welded them up, need a little paint repair. These are now my welds. Ground back and look half presentable, I'd say. So, underbody. A lot of this is obviously bare metal, or I've just had some basic rust stuff on it because it's new. But obviously the old stuff I wanted to paint strip so it's all nice and fresh and new for the paints, the under seal and stone chip and everything. So this has had some chemical paint stripper on it. I've also ripped off where the little sort of groove is that used to hold the old battery cable. You can see all the rust that was under there, so I think that was a good move. Surprising how quick stuff sort of surface rusts over. Literally, I stripped some of this paint off within 24 hours ago. So now that that's loosened up a bit, I'm going to get the wire wheel on the grinder and get that all cleaned up best I can. So all the paint is now cleaned off the floor, bare metal everywhere, just apart from a tiny bit there that needs those bolts taken out to do. So that's all nice and fresh metal. Now I'm going to treat that with some rust stuff and then put some zinc primer or some epoxy primer on it. Just a couple more holes that I want to weld up, just like those from where the old alloy plate was for the skid pan. So you'll also note I've welded box section down either side of the exhaust tunnel. What I'm going to do is drill and put captive nuts in there for the skid plate to cover off the exhaust tunnel, so all the fuel lines and the water lines are safe. And obviously that's just part of my obsession with drilling holes through the floor and having captive nuts. So that way, obviously there's no holes drilled through the floor, it's all nice tidy way of doing it. Jumping back to another job now, going back to the under tray underneath. This was wide, and with the step in it, it brought it down really low, so you can see all the scratches in it. It was actually catching more than it should because it was too low versus the actual floor of the car. It's unnecessarily wide as well. So with these rails I've got under the car now, I'm going to make this a little bit slimmer so it just covers the exhaust tunnel. So I'm chopping off these bits basically, these little things. I just thought I'd show you what I've been using to cut sort of sheet metal. So, I mean, this little piece I had to cut off the dash thing that I made. But I mean, look how straight and a clean cut that is. If you had to, you can't really see that, but if you had to do that with a grinder, then it would take a long time. It'd be hard to get that straight. Same with this as well. I mean, I've just lopped off that side. So what I've bought is a metal cutting bit from a circular saw. Basically use that level as a straight edge, and I'll just show you now how nicely that cuts. I mean, you have to watch some of the sparks that come off it because they're red hot, but it'll fly through that. Should do. Yep, you just watched me, that's how good the blade is, cuts right through your workbench. Perfect. Yeah, took a nice chunk out the bench there, so much better than a grinder. Here's the skid pan all in place. So we've got the rails that are welded to the floor. I've screwed and riv nutted those, and then obviously the plates onto that. So that boxes off the exhaust tunnel now where all the services are going to run. The original skid plan only ran to this front bar here, and it's kind of wrapped around it. So I've now extended it to come right to the front of the car, like so. So now it's got a full. And so I wanted to protect that as well because I've got my new fuel pump and stuff going under there. And it didn't make much sense that it wasn't coming to the front of the car. So I've some plonker over did the riv nuts, and the threads have gone in a couple of them, so I've got to drill them out and redo them. I don't know who that was. It definitely wasn't me. We've had a slightly better attempt at bead rolling. I just decided to go for an X. Thought I wouldn't try and overdo it. So I'm going to offer that up, see how it fits. Hi guys, so just showing you what I've got planned to house the fuel and water lines going down the exhaust tunnel, or was exhaust tunnel. So I bought these hydraulic clamp things off eBay. The reason I wanted these is they've basically got these threaded sort of plate on the bottom, so you weld that to your substrate or your material where you want to house it, and then basically you just bolt it through. what I've done though is I've got two different sizes, obviously water lines, and then these smaller ones are for the fuel lines, AN16 and AN6. So what I've done is I've got a longer bolt and I've made them into a oneer. So now I've got that, which will house essentially both. Let me just show you how this is going to work. So lift the car up a bit. So now, see, fuel tank and, I can't get my words out, water pump at the front, they need to get to the back. So they're going up there like that. So I had considered doing like fuel lines that side, water lines that side, but it was all getting a bit tight. And that stacked, obviously I couldn't do that way because, again, the shape of the tunnel gets a bit awkward. So stacked it with the smaller ones on the top, and I've got 4 of these, so just going to weld them down the tunnel like that, and obviously they don't come past this level, so I'm just going to spread my 4 out down the tunnel, weld them in. It's pretty much the underside of the car done. There we go, clamps welded in, bit of primer on the floor. It's looking a lot different now.